Okay, next slide, please. So here is an example of the monitoring timeline for a pass-through entity. When you look at this timeline, let's look at the goals listed in the first row. So now we're going from left to right. In the first row, the goal is to conduct grant orientation with the subrecipient. So we have our start date. We want to do this within the first month of the grant award. The goal is to conduct grant orientation with the subrecipient. And the objective here is to provide monitoring expectations to the subrecipient. So in your activity box, maybe you need to develop those expectations that you want to share with the subrecipients. Maybe you need to make the actual meeting arrangements. So again, it's your to-do list. And of course, your completion date is you want to have this completed by the end of the first month, because you said that in your start date, you want to start within the first month. So you want to have it completed by the end of the month. And then of course, you want to list the persons or persons responsible to complete this task and add their name and their job title. In the second row, the goal is to conduct regular reviews with your subrecipients. So you want to do that every 90 days. It could be a date, or you can actually list the month, whatever works for you. And then the project goal is to conduct regular monitoring reviews. So in your objectives box, you want to review the internal controls and policies for success and compliance. For activity, maybe you need to develop a list of what to review. And this list can change with every meeting that you have. You will also need to discuss and document your review findings. And of course, the completion date is every 90 days. So again, you can put an actual date or the month, whatever you need to put in there. And then last, you list the person or persons responsible for completing that task and goal. Now, in the third row, the goal is to complete your grant closeout reporting. So you have your start date, determine when to start that closeout report. And then the goal was to complete the closeout report. Now in your objectives box, you want to document all the activity that took place. And then you also want to assure record retention is in place. So for your activity box, maybe here you need to compile the data that needs to be added to that closeout report. And of course, you want to secure all your records properly for the closeout. And then you want to have your completion date in the next box and look for your deadline date. Okay, that's important. And then list the person or persons responsible to complete that task. So in this timeline, I've added exact examples, but this list could keep growing. I did not add all the activity that could be included in this. So next slide, please. Okay, so here's a scenario I'm going to read for a subrecipient. And I want you to think about the specific things that could be monitored and can be added into a timeline, and go ahead and write them down. So the Center for Crisis Intervention provides services to meet the urgent emotional or physical needs of a victim. The center has been presented with a subaward from the local victim services organization to provide continued victim services for their local community. The crisis intervention services include a 24-hour on-call response, and they will be hiring a new victim advocate who will be on call to respond to the needs of crime victims. This person will also need to complete victim advocacy training before they start providing on-call services. The grant award will also help provide emergency services for victims, such as transportation, food, shelter, and other necessities. A monitoring system is needed to collect programmatic activity for the purpose of progress reporting. To get organized with managing the grant, the center is preparing a monitoring plan and a timeline that will help address goals and objectives. So I'll give you another moment to take a look at the scenario and see what stands out to you. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so here's the example timeline for a subrecipient. Now this one is going to look a little bit different from the one before. Okay, and for this one, we're only going to go through the middle row. Okay, that's the second row there in the middle. So here, the goal is to prepare your progress report. So you want to have your start date, and you want to determine when to begin working on that report. So again, look at the deadline, and then make sure that you give yourself ample time to get that report done. Okay. And the goal is to prepare and to complete the progress report. Now your objectives box. Here you need to gather the information needed to complete that progress report, right? That's your objective. You need to get the information together. So in the activity box, maybe you need to develop the tracking method for program activity. Maybe you need to gather the statistical data from your staff members in order to complete that progress report. And then again, the completion date. This is the date that the report must be turned in. And then list the person or persons responsible for completing that report with their name and their job title. So as you can see, I did not add everything that can go into this timeline. The thing to remember is that each timeline is unique to your needs, and they can be changed, adjusted, and updated if they need to be. The timeline can also be shared if you choose to. So as a subrecipient, you could share your timeline with your pass-through entity. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is the end of this timeline presentation, and I want to thank everyone for listening. So now we are going to be going into our breakout sessions. The question for everyone is, what are other monitoring goals and objectives that could be included in a timeline? And again, thank you.
All right, opening breakouts. All right, welcome everyone. I hope everyone had a good discussion during the breakout. Why don't we give folks an opportunity to share what was talked about. Nicole and Carlin, do you want to go first?
Sure. Go ahead, Nicole, then I can chime in.
Oh, sure. So in terms of monitoring, what we went over in our group was like the processes being prepared for monitoring, communicating to your subrecipients. So basically, if you have a process in place, for example, Carlin gave this example and he might elaborate on it more. Sending out a letter before or a checklist to let them know what you're looking for when you come to monitoring. We also discuss things like if you're going to have realistic timelines for monitoring. If you have 10 subrecipients, doing a monthly check-in might not be realistic, but a quarterly check-in might be realistic for your organization and your current responsibilities. So doing something that you can actually stick to and something that works for both you and the subrecipients, and having them to kind of have a bit of a guidance on what they're being monitored on. And Carl, you can continue.
Yeah, and Nicole pretty much summed it up everything. Just the main thing that we took away was just having it's effective communication with the subrecipients, with the check-ins or with if there are reports that are due, sending out reminders, monthly, right before the deadline, or if they're past due, sending out, post date that, hey, this FFR is late. What's the status of that? So again, having the open line communication and having the tools and resources in place to assist the subrecipient goes a long way to ensure that the whole process flows smoothly.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing. Zarel, you want to share briefly what the group talked about?
Sure, I think it goes hand in hand with what Nicole and Carlin addressed. I did want to talk about a comment that that someone made on our discussion that we were not able to address. He said that one of the biggest problems that they face is that their files are not organized when they go to monitor. And I think this goes back to what we just talked about. Give them guidelines, give them policies and procedures, and be clear on what it is that is expected of them, and that should be part of it, right? Have your documents readily available, organized, so that when you guys ask for them, you can easily sift through them. Okay.
Great. Thank you. So for the group I was in, a lot of things that we talked about during the presentation, they were doing already. They did feel that the tool that was presented could be very helpful to them. You know, one example that was talked about is when an agency monitors over 150 subrecipients. So they felt the tool could help prevent them, you know, from getting delayed in their subrecipient monitoring. Selena, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else briefly about what the group talked about. If you're talking, Celine, you are on mute. Okay. Anybody else that was in our group want to be able to share? Yep. Oh, okay. Great. All right, so I'm not able to hear her, but she's sharing. So just let me know.
Russell, I can't hear her either, actually.
Okay, so she might be sharing in the translation line. So that's fine. So folks that are in the translation line are hearing that. But if anybody else in the group wants to share, that's fine. If not, I'll turn it over to Jamil so he can talk to us about the resources and next steps.
I'll just share one thing as we transition to Jamil. We had some OCFO staff in our group. So again, just a reminder that we're here to support. So if there's anything that this discussion has triggered, had you thinking, even post-webinar, we'd love to hear from you. So just reach out to financial specialists, reach out to the TFC or OCFO. We really want to support you in this important component of your grant award. So again, we just wanted to remind that was a great reminder by OCFO during our group. Thank you. And thank you, Francis,
Wonderful.
for facilitating this.
Sure. Thank you.
Jamil.
All right.
All right, thank you, Francis and Russ. As we round out today's session, let's take a few takeaways from today, and let's see what's coming up next. Next slide, please. Here are a few resources if you want to learn more about subrecipient monitoring. So take a look at your screen. We have 4 of them. I'll also post them in the chat for you. Next slide. The electronic access to circulars and common rules. I'll also post these links in the chat for you so you have easy access to them. There we go. At TFSC, when it comes to successfully managing your grant award, you can do it, and we can help. Here are 3 things you can do today to help you with that. First, you can First, you can visit our website for resources, then register for OJP FMVS, and contact us for customized TTA. We provide training, technical assistance, and resources to enhance financial management capacity for grantees in the U.S. territories to improve financial management of federal awards. And I'll also share our website, and you can also subscribe with the link that I'll provide in the chat right now. Next slide, please. On our website, you can access our library of resources on a variety of financial grants management topics. For the topic we explored today, you can access the subawards guide sheet, which explains when grantees might make subawards, the responsibilities of pass-through entities, and the difference between subrecipients and contractors. We also have the subrecipient monitoring guide sheet, which explains how grantees should monitor the subrecipients. And I'll also provide a link in the chat for you. Next slide, please. Another thing you can do is sign up for our upcoming financial management virtual seminar scheduled for next month, framed around the life cycle of a grant, or the pre-award, post-award, and closeout. The series will deliver 5 live virtual sessions focused on priority topics to help grantees effectively manage their federal award. Completion of this training fulfills the certification required by your grant award. The FMVS training series is available to all OJP grantees. Aside from attending 5 sessions, you will also have access to supplemental learning materials to enhance learning, such as videos, guide sheets, job aid checklists, case scenarios, and knowledge checks. This blended approach will ensure that learning is engaging, interactive, and impactful. Some of you may have already completed this when we offered this last summer, but if you haven't participated, right now it would be a good time to register for it. So I have included the registration link in the chat just shortly here. Just 1 second. Next slide, please. So here at OJP, we offer Virtual Support Center, the VSC, to answer any questions you may have about grant financial management. So anytime during or after the series, if you or your team need any type of additional training or technical assistance, please let Zarel or Nicole know, or you can email us at tfsc@ojptfsc.org. And I'll provide that email in the chat for you, so it's easy to access. We make sure to get back to you in a timely manner. So we are proud to partner with OCFO in supporting grantees. So if you have any questions for OCFO, you can email their customer service center at ask.ocfo@usd.doj.gov. And I'll also provide that email in the chat for you. Next slide, please. On behalf of the OJP TFSC Financial Support TTA team, we want to thank you for joining us today. Please reach out if you have any questions or if we can be of any support. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Have a great day, and you may now disconnect.